Okay, there we go. Welcome everyone to the Spring 2 2022 Town Hall. This is in partnership with Courageous Conversations. So again, if you have all made it to the correct place, congratulations. We welcome you. Couple housekeeping items and friendly reminders for attendance purposes tonight. If you can make sure your full first name and last name is appearing in the participant list. I see we have an iPhone, an iPad, a couple first names scattered here and there. But if you would like community involvement points for being here, I do need you to put in your full first name and last name. Apparently I can't say that tonight. I apologize. Other than that, to start off the meeting tonight, again, feel free to scroll through the pages, see your colleagues, your instructors. I will ask everyone in the next couple minutes after we go through our formal introductions to turn your cameras off. Tonight's going to be a little bit different and go on mute, as at the end of the presentation, we will have time for a conversation. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Foster and Dr. Harris when he's available. Thanks, everybody. Oh, sure.
Do we just need to have our names just visible on our page, or I see people typing it in the chat?
So good question. Not in the chat, in the actual, your little box. Okay. If you hover over your name, there should be 3 dots that appear, and you can change your Zoom information, if that makes sense.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And if you're calling in or driving or something like that, we don't want to put you in an unsafe circumstance. So if it is your phone number or just an iPad, feel free to email me directly, and I can just make note of it that way.
For a second. After the meeting, if you're driving.
Yes, yes, after the meeting, when you're parked.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. To start off, yes, Dr. Brown, we know you want community points. I would like to have faculty come off briefly and say hello. If you're a faculty member and you're here tonight, please come off of mute and say hello to everyone.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Brown, residency lead and soon to be associate professor here at the Chicago School. It's nice to see everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Tiffany Rush-Wilson, the associate department chair, and welcome to the term. It's good to see you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cody Dixon. I'm the director of clinical training. So when you have fieldwork questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Dr. Carla Russo, and congratulations, Dr. Brown.
Hi, I'm Sheree Keane. I'm an adjunct professor. This is my first term. I'm really enjoying being a part of this organization. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ruthutzmore, and I am an associate professor, and I'm in Savannah, Georgia, and happy to see all of you here tonight.
I'm Dr. Carla Russo. I am the assistant director of clinical training, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm also happy to see everyone here and excited for town hall.
I'm Dr. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Dr. Dalton.
I'm Dr. Dalton. I'm also in Pittsburgh, and I'm really glad to be here and see you all.
Hi, I'm Dr. Van Meter. I live in Florida, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. So, okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. D.A. Erickson. I'm in Colorado, and it's lovely seeing all of your faces.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eldridge, Dr. E. I am also in Colorado, and hi to all.
All right, did we get everybody?
I'm here. No, I have not been accounted for.
Okay.
This is Dr. McCormick. I'm not going to come off camera because that would be a little too distracting if I did, but I am happy to see everyone. I'm located here in Ohio.
What's up, everyone? I am Dr. Corey Clark. Happy to be here. I'm residency co-lead, and I'm in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Yeah, and welcome to the town hall. I'm happy to be here.
All right. I think we got everybody.
Not exactly. We need to represent South Carolina. Dr. Trout is here in South Carolina. Been with Chicago School since August. Totally loving it. It's good to see some of my folks here from practicum and diagnosis. And yeah, really loving to see everybody.
Sorry, Dr. Troutman, there are so many pages that I can't scroll fast enough. Which is a good problem to have, right? We have 150 strong, so that's a good problem to have. We didn't allow Dr. Harris to introduce himself yet because I'm going to ask him to come up of mute now, and we are going to introduce the topic for tonight's town hall. So Dr. Harris.
Hello, greetings, Dr. Foster, and greetings, CMHC. It is wonderful to be here this evening. So I am from the great state of North Carolina, and I'm happy to report the Tar Heels won this weekend, so I was really excited about that. So just had to say that one, being a wonderful UNC Chapel Hill. So I had to get that one in, Dr. Foster. I wanted to talk about, actually, Dr. Foster, in talking about the topic, I think it might be helpful for you and I to kind of talk about how this project came about, how the fruition at the beginning of it. So you want to begin that dialogue before we introduce our guests and start talking?
I will. So about a year ago, Dr. Harrison and I were talking about the many strengths of our program. And one of the strengths that our program really brings to the table is this idea of community, which you can see tonight by the attendance at Town Hall. And so he told me a term that I had never heard before. He said, yes, we do a good job of having communiversity. This idea that we're here in this academic setting, but we are very much a very supportive and prolific community. And I said, you know, the more we grow, the more important it is to keep this idea of community. And so we started brainstorming ways in which we can do that. We decided we were going to start a podcast in our department. It's called 10 Big Questions, and it's a game of professional tag. And so Colleen has very generously located the link for us. If you have not watched Dr. Harris and I, we happened to be in Hawaii at the same time. Believe it or not, we were there for work. We were presenting at a conference. And while we were there, we took advantage of 10 Big Questions. And so the way this works is that within our department, outside of our department, once you're tagged and you answer the questions, you can tag anyone else either in our department or outside of our department. And tonight, it's my turn to tag. And so I tagged Dr. Nealon, the president of our university, and she will be answering our 10 Big Questions tonight. There's no guarantee when you're tagged, you will get the same 10 questions that the person before you got. So Dr. Harris found this fantastic book of all of these amazing connecting questions for professionals. And so we will, and I'm not going to tell you the name of the book, that's the caveat. We will be using that book to continue to develop question sets to build this idea of communiversity. Dr. Harris, did you want to say anything else before we get started?
So I think, so this work kind of paralleled the work we were doing with the Campus Culture Committee. And so in working on campus culture, the online department has been exploring what are some ways that we can remain connected. And so that was kind of the premise of what we do in our department to stay connected. And there are many initiatives, but this is another way that we looked at how we can connect with each other. And so what will happen is afterwards, after the YouTube, the questions will go on the YouTube link. And so we know Dr. Nealon, who is a great friend to our department. She'll come on in a second, but she's a great friend to our department. And so I reached out to her for the courageous conversation, and she graciously agreed. And then so she also agreed that you guys are going to see two tonight. So you're going to see Dr. Nealon, she's going to present hers. And after that, one of our students in our program, Michael Sutton, is going to present his. And then we know from Michael is going to go to one of our associate deans. It's going to go to, it'll go there, and then it'll go bilingual. And so it'll go, we will have it will start a couple Spanish speakers, and then actually there's a chance that it's going to go to Chinese, we go to Mandarin. Well, that person doesn't know it yet, but it's going to go, well, they probably do now.
They do now.
They do now, yeah, because we probably have one person in our department, no, two. So, and so it'll go Mandarin, then we'll go outside the department, and then we're going to come back in. And so that's a great way to engage. And then all of them are going on a YouTube channel. And so we had to do it before campus culture stole it away from us. And so, so we are excited that we've been working on this forever and talking about it forever. And we finally get to do it, Colleen. And so this is something that we can check off our list, and I can get out of my work plan to say that I can get a new goal for my work plan that I finally did this. So I'm super excited about it.
And like Dr. Harris said, Dr. Nealon has been gracious enough to come today. And so at this point in the program, we're going to ask everyone to mute their cameras except for mine and Dr. Nealon's. And we'll give you guys a second to do that. Colleen, were you able to pin Dr. Nealon as well?
I'm right here, Dr. Foster.
Wonderful.
Yes, hi there.
Isn't this fantastic? Do you see the number of students we have?
I do. I'm having to flip through 7 pages to see all the faces and the names. It's fabulous. Hello, everyone.
So Dr. Nealon, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna give you 2 warm-up questions, and then
Okay.
we're gonna go with the 10 big questions. So
Okay.
warm-up questions, are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it.
If I asked your high school friends what they thought you would be doing today, what would they say?
They would say that they would have thought that I was a high school teacher, because when I was going through high school, that's all that I wanted to do. I loved school. I loved my teachers, and I really wanted to teach high school history and economics. And go figure, I landed in the United States of America, which I never thought that was not on my to-do list. And I guess I went into teaching. I was a faculty member at the Chicago School for a very long time, but certainly not high school teaching. So that's what they would say, oh, we kind of got it, kind of.
All right. Second warm-up. What is the last thing you purchased on Amazon?
So I just purchased it this weekend because it's my favorite youngest son's birthday this weekend, at least it was. He turned 17. And he wanted a he wanted to put together a home gym for himself. So I bought him what do you call them? The racks for the bars with the weights. And it arrived on Sunday, which was his birthday.
All right. And so the way you guys saw us do this is exactly how we will do the 10 big questions. The caveat is I'm not allowed to ask you any follow-up questions. So whatever the question is and however you answer it is how it will be.
Okay.
All right. So here are the 10 big questions. If you had a theme song that played whenever you walked into a room full of people, what would it be?
So my favorite song is Louis Armstrong's It's a Wonderful World. Love that song. And one of the many reasons, other than my goodness, is was he an artist? I really remind myself as often as I can that life is beautiful. The world is beautiful. I know that we all have adversity in one way or the other in our lives, but I'm the sort of person that really tries to focus on the quality of my life, and mostly through the people that I come into contact with every day. So I believe in being connected. I believe in being very present in the world. I believe in being brave and engaged and being an advocate in the world. And that song just always centers me around what I aspire to also contribute to the world. So that would be my theme song, Dr. Foster.
Okay. Question 2, tell me about the last time you asked for help.
So this one, when I saw that one, I thought, oh, seriously, can you ask me something else? Because it is not easy for me to ask for help. So I fully disclose that. I'm a doer, and I like to solve problems, and I like to pride myself on being self-sufficient and so on. So I was thinking, I really had to think, Dr. Foster, about when the last time was. So as everyone knows, I'm president of the Chicago School, and part of that means that I travel. I travel between the campuses. I travel for various events and so on. So I'm a single mom, and I had one evening where I needed to have a sitter for my son. And I wasn't able to figure that part out. So that was when I had to just say, you got to dig deep into your tribe and get help to watch your son for that particular night. So that was tough. That was a tough one for me, but write it down and say, good job. Way to practice asking for help.
All right. You must wear a t-shirt with one word on it for the rest of your life. What word would you choose and why?
I would choose joy, Joy. And again, like following up from my first answer, joy to me is different than happiness. So I could go outside today and see that, as did happen in my backyard, that roses had bloomed. I love to garden. So that's going to make me happy in the moment. But for me, joy is an emotion that it's really brought about or evoked by well-being, by gratitude, by really being able to recognize the areas that you have been lucky and fortunate in your life. To me, it's about really trying to keep yourself in a state of contentment and having confidence in that, and also having hope. To me, hope is a very big part of joy as well. So that would be, I'm going to go get a t-shirt now, Dr. Foster, and just put joy on it. I'll send you one too. How about that?
All right. So what is it like being on the other side of me experiencing these questions?
I don't mind it at all. At one stage of my life, I might have, because I'm Irish born and raised. I didn't immigrate to the United States until I was in my middle 20s. I think I was 26. So for me, like a lot of Irish people, we're very private. We're certainly very private about our personal lives or our personal struggles. So, it's hard, as we know, it's hard to ever leave a part of you behind that's become that. I mean, as we grow up in our culture and have our worldviews, that's just who we are. So when I came to the United States, I was blown away by the conversations around private lives, the extent to which work and private lives mixed, about how open people were with their emotions, the good, the bad, the ugly emotions. So if you had asked me that question a long time ago, I would have said, okay, this might be my worst nightmare, to have to talk about myself in a public way. Now I'm very comfortable with it, having lived in the United States for 26 years as well. And I will just add, Dr. Foster, that part of the culture is not that there is a shame or a difficulty in your business. It's more the belief that other people are really more important than you. So don't take up time and energy with who you are. So it's more of a deferential culture to others. And that was more the difficulty with it. But now I'm like, bring it, ask me questions, happy to share.
All right. I know we're both foodies, so the next one I can't wait to hear the answer to. What is the best dinner you've ever eaten?
So totally easy. I had to go to Dubai for work, and beautiful Dubai. And the flight home was really late at night, late for me, because I'm a morning person. I'm up at 4:30, so it means I got to be in bed 9:30. So for me, it was late and I was out of my time zone. The university president that I was visiting wanted to take me out to dinner before I got on my plane. And it just wasn't working for me. I'm like, wait, I got to be at the airport. I'm going to miss my flight. If I miss my flight, this is really going to be difficult to get another flight back to the United States. It's like 15 or 16 hours or something. But he insisted. he insisted that I've loads of time, took me out to this restaurant in Dubai. Beautiful, beautiful place, stunningly gorgeous. The ambiance was fantastic. And I tried butter chicken for the first time in my life. I'd never, when I was stressed, I was anxious, I was eager to get to the airport, I couldn't relax. And he was saying, you got to relax, just relax. And once I started eating that dinner, it was divine. Yes, I see here, Daenerys, let's go to Dubai again and buy some butter chicken. And it was also the culture, the way that it was served, the care with which it was served, all of the different pieces that came with it. The bread was to die for. Oh, just delicious. Worth going to Dubai just for their butter chicken.
Describe your favorite pair of shoes and tell us what makes them your favorite.
So this, for all the women listening in, you might resonate with this one. So I'm only 5'3". I'm short. And I'm sure I've always had that part of me as I'm short because my sisters are 5'10", 5'11". My brothers are 6'2". So my youngest sister, who's 6 years younger than me, when she was 5 and I was 11, she was taller than I am. So I always had, my siblings were like, what happened to, my dad would say, I was at the wrong end of the table and all this funny stuff. So I've always been a 3-inch, 4-inch heel person because I've always been like, no, I've got to have another couple of inches to feel like I'm not. I went to a Roman Catholic school in Ireland, and the nuns always put me up at the front because I was so small. And, so anyhow, I finally got to the age in my life where I'm like, who cares? You're short. Grandma was right. Good goods come in small packages. So I started wearing flats. And I was like, one, they're very comfortable. And two, they're like, whoa, I'm actually okay, 5'3". I kind of finally grew into myself. So they are, all folks might know these. They're like the birdies and now I'm forgetting the name of it, the Rothy's shoes and so on. They're stylish. I can wear them with jeans. And I'm like, you go, girl, you can wear your flats. It's okay to be 5'3". So they're my new favorite shoes, Dr. Foster. I feel like I'm telling all. It's great. I'm like, here it is.
It is kind of like a tell-all.
Yeah.
All right. So what advice would you give future clinicians and scholars about learning to navigate difficult topics and dialogues and create safe spaces? And what makes this important?
Yeah, I've actually been asked that question before. For everyone listening in, I'm a clinical psychologist myself. So one of the best lessons that I ever learned, and one of the pieces of wisdom that I would like really to impart on that one is, you have to know yourself to be able to do that in any therapeutic situation. You have to know who you are. You have to know what is your worldview. You have to know all the good and the not so warm and fuzzy parts of you and come to terms and own that about yourself. You have to know what are your triggers, what buttons are there. You have to really dig deep into understanding who you are as a human being and how you are likely to be in certain circumstances and why. And spend the time, the serious, diligent time that it takes to get to know yourself and to be accepting of yourself and to be comfortable in your own skin in order to be in those sorts of situations. And also having the wisdom that you are always there in those circumstances for other people and not yourself.
This is kind of a part 2 to this question. How do you turn that safe space into a brave space?
When I think about safe spaces, and certainly at the Chicago School, I've been the president now for 11 years, and in many different times and occasions in the past, in the present, and there will be more in the future, we've had this conversation about safe spaces and brave spaces. When I think about what we're getting to here, it's about being able to congregate with on an issue, whatever the issue is. Oftentimes they're difficult issues or controversial issues, but it is being able to gather collectively with honesty about why we're there, but also honesty with who we are when we showed up to that particular space. It's also about sensitivity. Again, you know, I own this because of the way that I was raised in a culture outside of the United States, but it is coming into a space with the sensitivity that, yes, you are there and your issues and your thoughts and your beliefs and your passions, that those are important in that space, as are other people's. So it's about the sensitivity of the collective in that particular room. And then always in that space, coming together from a position of respect. I am big on the idea of respect for yourself and respect for other people. So to me, when you have the honesty, you have the respect, you have the sensitivity, then the anxieties that are generated or that have come into that space, that if you acknowledge that there is more, it's more likely that the people in the room are going to be able to talk about and share the thoughts and their feelings. But moving it into bravery, when I think about what is bravery, especially when we talk about anything related to social or racial justice, it is about being able to listen, to be able to absorb, and then to be able to take a non-defensive step back and to be really able to look at what are the challenges that are emerging out of that safe space and environment and interchange that is happening. It's bravery in speaking your mind, but it's also bravery in listening to the minds, the thoughts, the beliefs of others. And then to me, the bravery is finding a common path forward, whether we find a universal way to come together or an imperative or a point of advocacy, whatever emerges from those dialogues. The bravery is that you take now what you've learned and you actually intend to do something with it that causes or affects change. That's my piece about space, and the space is almost the conduit, but the bravery is the outcome. And it's the humanness in those areas, the honesty, the sensitivity, and the respect that, if managed and contributed to well, can take you into that next space.
Thank you for that. You can see that lots of comments are coming in about that. All right, a quote for you. Plato said, "The highest form of knowledge is empathy, for it requires us to suspend our egos and live in another's world." From a social justice and advocacy perspective, what comes up when you hear this quote, and how do you embody this idea?
So very similar. By now, you probably get a sense of who I am and how I try to understand myself, understand people around me, and so on. So to me, that question follows from how I've come to understand myself, others, the world that I live in, and then the intent that I get up to every single day. I love the question because empathy, to me, if we cannot live in a position of empathy towards others, then we are living our lives for ourselves, our needs, and our agendas. And sure, you can live your life that way. To me, that becomes more hollow than the opportunities that life affords us. So to me, it's when you're able to, again, embrace, as I had said, embrace who you are, embrace your needs, yet see that others that you're sharing life with, and I mean people that you know and people that you don't know, that they're also in that space and on that continuum with you. And again, many might believe, and many might say, yes, I'm with you. Many might say, no, not necessarily. But for me, the wisdom of life, it's kind of what people say. It's like the wisdom of happiness comes from what you can give and do from others. The wisdom of love is not so much what you will get from relationships, but what you will give in relationships. The wisdom of empathy is, to me, caring for yourself, but not in isolation of others. It's not always easy to do, but as I'll turn 55 this year. And I believe as I reflect on life, I really see the richness of my life come to fruition when I wake up every day at the service of others. And I love that quote in there, Dr. Foster. And I'm a big write a quote, put it on your desk, and continue to reflect on it throughout the day. That will be one of those quotes that I put on my desk.
Last question. What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Oh, this one. So I was telling this story to somebody the other day over lunch, and I started crying. I'm going to keep myself together. And at the same time, this is a safe space. If I cry, I cry. Who cares? So I've got two sons, and I love, love, love being a mother. My oldest son is 22. My youngest, as I mentioned, is 17. Loved it every second of the day, loved being a mom. So the hardest thing I ever had to do was walk out of my oldest son's dorm room when I dropped him off at college. He went to Iowa State University to study engineering. And we had agreed that at that moment, I would not be one of the parents that was like bubbling, crying. He's like, don't do it, Mom. I'll be so embarrassed. You got to keep yourself together. But he knows when it comes to my kids, I'm a crier. So I was like, I got this. I'm tough. I'm Irish built. I'm tough. So we had spent 2 or 3 days, fabulous days. We bought him everything from Walmart and Target to, deck out his dorm room. We put everything away. We had so much fun. We met his roommate. We met his roommate's parents. We did all this sort of stuff. But the moment that I hung up his last shirt and I realized there's nothing else for me to do, I was like, I got it. And I'm actually not going to cry this time. Maybe it's because I cried the other day over this. So it was that moment when I realized, now I got to make good on this. I've got to get out of this room before I fall apart and make him upset or embarrassed or whatever at the time 18-year-olds do. I hung up my shirt and I looked at his shirt. I looked at him and I said, it's time for me to go. I adore you. And I left. Oh, awful, awful. I'm going to call every one of you when I have to drop my 17-year-old off. I'll be a mess, total mess. All the parents listening in can empathize with it. It's so hard. Hardest thing I've ever had to do.
We thank you for your vulnerability.
Thank you, Dr. Foster. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share myself and my thoughts. What a privilege.
So we're gonna, now that you've been tagged and you've tagged Michael, we're gonna ask that Michael be allowed back in, because I don't think we allowed Michael to listen. In case Michael got any of the same questions, he can watch it on replay. And we will let you interview Michael. So I'm going to take myself off camera and Michael will come on.
I'm so excited. Where are you,
Dr.
Michael?
Foster, yeah, let me say something real quick, Dr. Foster. Michael did leave out, but most of his questions are not the same. So.
There you are, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, Madam President. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited to be asking you these questions and getting to know you. And Dr. Foster just let me know that I can ask you questions, but I can't ask you any follow-ups. So
Okay.
We're going to enjoy your answers, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Wonderful. So the first two questions are just nice warm-up questions for you. The first one is, where do you live?
I live in Frederick, Maryland.
Thank you. And what is your current role?
I work for the Department of Homeland Security. I work in an active assailant countermeasures program.
Thank you, Michael. All right, here we go. The first question for you. There is an African proverb that states that if we stand tall, it is because we stand on the shoulders of many ancestors. What family members and/or mentors have allowed you to stand on their shoulders?
I would say my godfather, and I would say one of my deceased uncles.
Where did you first observe the concept of social justice and advocacy? And please share with us at least one example of how you've upheld these concepts in your life.
Okay, one example of social justice and advocacy. I'll go back to my godfather. He's always been a community leader, and it doesn't matter what time you knock on his door and now call his phone. He's always there for people. He's been very instrumental in my hometown and still does work there in the community today. When there is uproar, I was probably in the 7th grade, and there was a riot in our small town in Ashburn, Georgia, and attitudes for flaring. Everyone was just out of their mind because a young black man was shot in the back. He was handcuffed, and he was walking from the jail to the court, which is right across the street from each other. To see my godfather jump in to help, to calm people, to bring some peace to the moment, and to allow the system to work. The system failed, in my opinion. But seeing that as a young person, as a young child, it taught me so much. It taught me that maybe tomorrow will not be fair to everyone. Maybe the next day will. So you have to do something. You have to get involved and be active so that that next day after tomorrow can be better for everyone.
Thank you, Michael. We know that you are a cook. If you had unlimited money or space, what item would you add to your kitchen?
As a cooking device, possibly a dehydrator. I'm vegan, and I love to cook, and I love to cook for people. I like to answer questions for people. I try to be an example and not be pushy to better the health of people. So I don't talk much about it. This is my 25th year of being vegan. I became a vegetarian when I was 12, and I used to be very militant about it. And I learned that you bring more attention to health just by being an example. So something that I don't have is a dehydrator for vegetables and fruit.
Thank you. Name one thing that you refuse to live without.
One thing that I refuse to live without. Old sitcoms. I have a 7-year-old son and a 30-year-old daughter. And my son loves Sanford and Son and Good Times. And now he's just starting to watch Different Strokes and I think MASH, because he loves the military. So yeah, old sitcoms. It's a perfect time for my son and I to bond.
Thank you. Tell me about the last time that you had to ask for help.
The last time I had to ask for help, it was recent. um, I had to ask for help from one of the retirees from Homeland Security. We bonded while he was working there, and he's like a mentor for me in the security field. So I had to ask for help, mainly about some of the people that he knew very well, and some of the people that I knew very well. They're not getting along right now, and it's bearing on the team. So I wanted to ask his advice for his approach.
You have to wear a t-shirt with one word on it for the rest of your life. Which word would you choose and why?
I will choose human. To me, that word, it transcends everything and everyone, and it's meaningful. I try to live by asking myself every day, what is it to be human? What does it mean to be human? And in that, I get to look at situations, I get to look at people, and I may not like certain things, but my purpose is to understand why, and to understand that that's a part of humanity, that's a part of human, and being human, that people are going to fail and make mistakes, there's going to be success, there's going to be love, pain, joy, it's all of that. So that's the word that I would use, is human. Because I want everyone to see me as a human, because I want to view everyone else as a human.
What present did you purchase for somebody else that you were most excited to see them open?
I have a half sister. I have 3 half sisters and 1 stepsister, and I've been sending them candles and diffusers for essential oils. So I'm sending that to them each on their birthdays, and I'm very happy to do so because it's peace, it's tranquility. And I just like the smiles. I like to see them with it and using it. Yes.
What is the best dinner that you have ever eaten?
The best dinner I have ever eaten. I would say I've traveled a lot. I used to work for the U.S. State Department, and I was very amazed at a little. I don't remember the name. I remember how to get there, but it's a little place in Thailand. It's like a very small, typical kitchen, and they don't have a menu. It's whatever they have on that given day. And my favorite was asking for fresh vegetables. And they brought me fresh vegetables that were picked from the garden. So there was still soil on them, but they brought a bucket for me to clean everything. So I would say a hot pot, because I got to cook my food in the restaurant at the table. So I think the dish that I was trying to mimic was maybe pho noodle soup. And once they realized what I was trying to do, they just decided to come and help me. So we just tried different blends and different things. And one of the managers actually sat down to eat with me. And he said, we should hire you because you make good soup.
Thank you. And now the very last question for you. What is the most beautiful place that you have ever visited?
Place I ever visited. There is a view that's in Barcelona, and it's like a mountainous area, and that was the best view I've ever seen. It was just that moment where I was away from the crowd of people that were touring, and I sat on a ledge, and I just peered into the sunset. That was a very beautiful moment for me. I will never forget that moment.
Wonderful. Michael, thank you so much for
You're very
answering
welcome.
the questions.
Thank you.
All right, so Dr. Harris, I invite you to come off camera. Michael, Dr. Nealon, how was this for you tonight?
It was great. It's always wonderful to share your story, to share your life, and to find out about others and their lives and things that they've been through, the things that they like, the things that they're going through. It goes back to me asking the question, what is it to be human? Every time I learn something about someone else, it just brings more to this answer that I will probably never get, but I'm chasing it.
Well, we will gladly join the chase with you.
Thank you. Let's go.
Let's go. And Dr. Nealon, how was this for you tonight?
It was wonderful. Thanks so much for this. And Michael, really just wonderful to get to know you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to get to know you.
I found that when you are not pressured to have a follow-up question, you really listen. You just listen and you just enjoy the response. And you also then, you're not interrupting. You're not feeling, what should I say? You're just listening. And that was a really rich experience because I could get to enjoy experiencing and feeling in some ways Michael's experience with the answers to his questions. Wonderful.
Thank you. It's wonderful for me as well.
Dr. Foster, I want to make a comment. And actually, Dr. Nealon, I think last time, had you, Dr. McGrath, and I think Dr. Foster, you guys were on a panel. And so some of the beginning of these questions, and we learned so much about you the last time. And I know for myself, even assumptions or things I thought I knew about you, in asking these questions, it helped peel back some layers and help us to understand you better. And that was really my reason as far as connecting, our reason and wanting to connect and, get these deeper levels, particularly take that same experience when Dr. Foster and I were talking about it, to bring that over to our program, help us to understand and get to know each other, because we're going to post them. And then, as people go and tag. So I just kind of wanted to add that too.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. What a wonderful thing that you do at this town hall. You can feel how precious it is. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Foster, also.
You're welcome. And it was a conscious decision not to ask follow-ups. And it's hard because as mental health professionals, that's what we want to do, right? Is to it was really, there were several times that I wanted to ask you follow-ups and I didn't. And there were several times I wanted to say, I feel you. I empathize with the son. Like right now, I could feel it. And that's not the time or the place. It really was to get to know you. So, like you said, it really forces us into this place of just listening to hear and not to respond.
Yeah, so true.
And not to even force them to give more answers, because I've noticed that there was one time when Michael first started answering questions, his answers were very short. And I almost saw Dr. Nealon, she kind of leaned in, or she was like, you gonna say something else? But, kind of looking at him. And then eventually I noticed his answers got longer. And Michael, I even want to add, I saw you holding it together, as you were connecting and thinking about, particularly as you talked about things as your godfather and these powerful stories that I don't think if we interrupted you or elaborated, that you would not have gotten to the depth of those stories.
I felt I just felt the freedom to be and to just let it let it be natural, let it come natural and not get in the way. The good thing about it is that not knowing what you're going to say, and not knowing how you're going to feel in the moment. I love those moments because sometimes I don't know how deeply rooted some things are until someone asks me. And when I talk about people like my godfather, those moments just take me somewhere. Sometimes when I was younger, sometimes when, being a teenager, sometimes being an adult with children of my own. So you never know where it's going to go and where you're going to focus. So I'm thankful for these moments, and I can't wait to hear the Big Ten questions from others as well.
All right, we have about 7 minutes left of town hall tonight. And so we don't have time for everyone to come off camera and share, but I am watching the chat. Colleen, do you want to, have you been moderating? Are there people with questions or thoughts that you want to call on?
Dr. Foster, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dr. Harris.
Dr. Foster, what implications for therapy or working with clients might this exercise have? I'm wondering, I know and us talking about it, and maybe that might be a question to the group. I'm seeing some in the chat, but what implications, what immediately came to your mind, or how might this be helpful?
I'm going to tag Paris because I think Paris had a wonderful answer. I'm trying to read through everything, but Paris, I'm going to tag you.
Okay, wow. Hello, everybody. I am Paris, and Dr. Troutman is my current professor, and I'm in spring internship, practicum too. Glad to be here. Hey, Dr. T. I concur with a lot of the sentiments that were in the chat, that we were able to observe the great power of silence and vulnerability. I've been watching some videos about how difficult it is for some humans to convey vulnerability and how important that is during the session when you have a client, that you are present, that you are listening, and that that person is allowed to fill that space with all of their emotion and all of their whatever's going on, and that you're there to accompany them on this journey. And it was such a powerful and moving experience. I felt both of them on the verge of tears, and there was such great energy in the room. And I was watching the chat also. And just thank you, TCS, and all of my professors and everybody, because we as students love to see you guys express your humanity to us. And it makes it okay for us to be ourselves. I'm almost in tears.
So Paris, would you like to tag someone that you saw in the chat to come off and speak?
Oh, wow, really? Let's see. I'd like to tag Jordan.
Oh, Paris, of course you would. Hi, everyone. I'm currently almost home. I parked in a parking lot right now listening to this. I'm currently not home from work yet. However, this was a really amazing experience for me just because I work behind the scenes as a graduate assistant for most of the professors and with the VCTC, and being able to listen to the vulnerabilities and read the chat as to how, even though we are so far apart and we're so disconnected in terms of like where we are in the world, and coming here tonight and reading how we were able to connect so well with each other with everything that was said and everything that was shared. And I find that town halls really do give us the opportunity to bring us all together, because I think we do miss some of that a lot because we are an online program. So I really did appreciate the fact that we were able to be vulnerable and we were able to sort of connect with one another. And I think that that's really important to sort of implement in a program like ours. And I hope that we can continue to do that moving forward. So thank you.
So Jordan, we have time for maybe 2 more tags. Who would you like to tag?
Let's see here. Who do we have? Well, I don't know a lot of the names. However, I see Catherine Crook had mentioned this was her first town hall. So I'd love to know a little bit more about how this experience was for her.
Yeah, so I've not been to one. I'm almost done with my program now, but I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I guess I was thinking much more like serious meeting kind of style. It was really more fun and nice to get to know everybody. A lot of, I don't think I've had any of the professors in here names that I've seen so far, which I'm kind of sad now. My program's almost over. But yeah, it was really different than what I was expecting in a good way.
And I'm actually going to tag a doc student. Brittany Jordan, can you come up and tell us how tonight was for you? Because you've been a CMHC student and now you're a doc student. So can you share how this was for you?
There we go. Sorry, I had a little issue with taking myself off mute, but good evening, everyone. You know, I'm thinking of the words to say too, as I just kind of like really cherish this town hall. I really feel like it was really different, but yet very, I guess, personal, like everyone else has pretty much said. I guess the one thing I have like really to take away is that I'm just thankful, I guess, for everyone's vulnerability and being open to having these conversations with us as students. I think just being here for the second time around, I'm able to kind of be able to see the faculty a little more, which makes me feel more included and important in the program as well. So I think tonight it just really opened my eyes to, wow, look at what our school can do. So I'm thankful for that. So I guess that's my takeaway, and I'm excited to kind of get to know more faculty on like a more personal level too.
For those of you here tonight, and for those of you watching this recording, you never know when you might be tagged. So be prepared. I did see some chat around hoping to be tagged soon. So you never know when you're going to be tagged. So when Colleen uploads this into the online advising forum, you will have the opportunity to add comments as always. So feel free to keep the conversation going after the recording stops tonight. But we really appreciate you all being here and being so attentive. Again, thank you for your graciousness as always, Dr. Nealon. As Dr. Harris said, we really appreciate you being a friend of the program. Even more than the president of the university.
Oh, my pleasure. You're leaving me in such an uplifting place as always. I'm so grateful to both of you for your leadership and care of our students. And students, keep going, no matter what happens in life, keep going.
And Michael, we appreciate your vulnerability. We can tell you that Dr. Brita McGrath has been tagged next. And so we will make sure that you get the link to our YouTube channel, Dr. Nealon, so you can continue to watch the 10 big questions as well.
Love it.
All right, everyone, have a safe and great night, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Don't forget that virtual conference will take the place of town hall next term. And if you have not put in a proposal, there's been an extension, get with a faculty member or get with another peer and get those proposals in.
Thank you, everyone. Happy town hall.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice night.